Thank you, Angelica, and congratulations, Bernie. I think you're going to be everyone's best friend here soon. You know, on behalf of everyone involved with Global Cleveland, I want to welcome you here tonight to what is a momentous occasion in our initiative. I want a special thanks to Governor Kasich, Mayor Jackson, and John Miner for joining us to celebrate this evening. This is an effort, if you talk to Alex Pachaski or Jenny Brown or many of the other longtime Clevelanders, it's an effort that's been, in many cases, several decades in the making. It's a conversation that's been going on in our community, and it's an effort that's focused around a few very simple ideas. The first is that the region should be a welcoming place of opportunity for people of all backgrounds. The second is by welcoming newcomers, whether they're from other parts of the country or other parts of the world, or even individuals that are just returning home after being away for a few years. The region gets enriched. Our asset base grows not only because of the rich culture and the traditions that you saw in the hallways, but because of the ideas and the energy and the new connections that these individuals bring to our region to help us continue to grow. And the third idea is that by being a welcoming region and bringing these newcomers here and giving them a great experience, they in turn spread the word by word of mouth and attract others and start a virtuous cycle that really contributes to the region's revitalization. Now, these are simple ideas and relevant ones for the region's dynamics, but they're also enormously resonant, which is why I think all of you are here. And every time we have one of these Global Cleveland events, I am always amazed at the passion and the energy that comes forward from the individuals, all of you, to be a part of this initiative. Because I think at some fundamental level, all of us have been newcomers. It's certainly our story, my story. For my family, as many of you know, it's a story of my parents who immigrated to the United States and who chose to move to Cleveland because they knew someone here. But they stayed here because they felt welcome. And because they felt welcome, they spread the word, and other family members and friends also chose to come to Cleveland to settle and start their lives here. It's my story as well as a boomeranger, someone who grew up in the region, went away for about a decade, came back, and was welcomed not only to a professional opportunity, but to a number of civic opportunities that have allowed me to be a citizen here in Cleveland. And it's that story repeated thousands of times over. Each of your stories, your family stories, and the stories of others, that's what we're working to reignite here in Cleveland. That's what we're working to rekindle through this Global Cleveland effort. It's a story of Cleveland. It's a story of waves of individuals that have come here, whether we're thinking about the Eastern European and Southern European migrations back at the turn of 2 centuries ago, or the African American migration from the south to the north, or more recently the Asian migrations, the Latino migrations, or as we saw in the video, the young professional movement that many of you probably read about in the articles over the last couple of days, and the brain gain that we're experiencing as these individuals come to Cleveland to pursue opportunities. Dynamic regions always have this constant inflow of migrants, bringing these ideas, bringing their connections, and creating a vibrancy that lifts the community and lifts prosperity for everyone that's here. Now, we've been fortunate that these ideas and this vision have been broadly embraced in our community by our elected officials that are with us here tonight, as well as a number of civic leaders. And while there's too many to mention, I want to note a few in particular. Steve Hoffman and the Jewish Federation of Cleveland, Ron Richard and the Cleveland Foundation, and Dan Walsh and Huntington Bank really were founding members, along with our elected officials, for kicking off Global Cleveland. And there's one person I want to thank in particular and recognize for his contributions to this effort. A person who, more than any of the rest of us, is really the guiding spirit and force behind this vision initiative. And it's a person who I like to say, when I grow up, I'd like to be him. And that's Albert Ratner. Albert, if you could stand for a minute. We're guided by all of those individuals and many other civic leaders and community members who support this initiative. As you can see on the screen that's behind me, they're all newcomers, be they immigrants, boomerangers, or even longtime Clevelanders, and we could not be where we are today without their support. Now, to realize the vision that we've got, Global Cleveland has as its mission to be a convener and a catalyst of programs that attract, welcome, and connect newcomers to Cleveland. You're going to hear throughout tonight's program about the attraction and connection efforts from other speakers. So I want to share just a bit more about our welcoming programs that we have launched and that we are aiming to continue to launch. Global Cleveland aims to really reignite what we call Cleveland's Welcome Wagon, a network that leverages the rich array of ethnic communities, the 117 different ethnic groups that we have in the region, but also the many young professional and neighborhood organizations that exist. A network that can ensure that newcomers, be they from Costa Rica or Costa Mesa or India or Indiana, or even newcomers that are boomerangers returning home, feel welcomed when they arrived. We have, in our first 2 years, convened initiatives around targeted groups to attract, welcome, and connect. We're working with the Refugee Services Collaborative and also initiatives focused on the Latino and Asian communities, two of our fastest growing ethnic communities, not only here in the region, but across the country, as well as the African American Initiative. While these initiatives are organized around ethnic communities, you'll hear throughout the program about other efforts organized around young professionals, industry talent, veterans, and even students and alumni from local colleges and universities. Now finally, every initiative needs a simple, measurable goal to know whether or not we're tracking towards success. Ours is very simple. We want to double the number of in-migration to this region by 2020. Based on research coming out of the new Center for Population Dynamics at Cleveland State, a research partner to Global Cleveland, we know that over the last decade, each year we have about 30,000 newcomers to come to our region to make it home. We want to, by 2020, through our efforts and supported by all of you, raise that number to over 60,000 a year. If we achieve that, we know we will have revitalized the region and reestablished that virtuous cycle that forms that foundation for an accelerated growth for Cleveland. Now let me close by saying that to succeed, we know that we need all of you to be a part of the effort. As I said, our job at Global Cleveland is to be a keeper of the vision and the mission, but to be more of a convener and a catalyst to the community. So throughout the program, you're going to hear about ways that you can be involved. And I'm hoping that you can choose to be involved, whether it's as an individual, an organization, or as a company. My ask of you today is on the welcoming front. And that's for you to consider joining our efforts to welcome newcomers by volunteering with Global Cleveland to be a resource for newcomers that move to the region. You can go to our website, something you'll hear about more throughout our program, and click on volunteer and be plugged into that network, and then we can draw upon your generosity to welcome individuals to our region.